Tara Lynn of Geek Saga Entertainment, and welcome to Wet Hot Walt Disney World Summer, the second episode of my 2002 Walt Disney World College Program 20-year reunion series. This episode is about what it's like to work at Disney World in the heat of a Florida summer, some of our favorite and perhaps least favorite memories, and more. I'm joined by my friend Kelly, who started her Fall Advantage 2002 college program a week or so after I checked in for my summer program that year. So Kelly, introduce yourself. If you have like Instagram, Twitter, anything that you want to plug, welcome to do that as well.
Okay. My name's Kelly. I have some social media. My Instagram, I haven't posted in a very long time, but it's Kellyanne8783. Very creative name there. But yeah, it's mostly probably some Disney stuff. I'm an annual pass holder, so there's a lot of that on there. But yeah, again, I go on there all the time, but I haven't posted in a while. So, but you're
Well, you
more than
haven't done a
welcome to
Run
check
Disney thing in a long time, and I
out.
know
Right?
you use it a lot for that. So I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that.
So.
Okay, well, as I already mentioned, I'm Tara. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at A Geek Saga, and on the web at ageeksaga.com. Also, don't forget that I now have a Patreon with 10 tiers ranging from $1 a month to $40 a month. It offers tons of ways to support us and receive some great perks in return. So you can check it out at patreon.com/geeksaga_entertainment. Okay, Kelly. As a first time guest on this series, why don't you give a brief summary about how you ended up on the college program? Like where you were in your life, why you did it, all that fun stuff.
Okay. All right. So, well, I found out about the college program through my sister. She did the college program in 2001 when I was a senior in high school. Because I remember my mom and I came down on spring break to visit her. It was my first time flying in an airplane and my first time ever at Walt Disney World because we didn't go as kids. So we came down to see her. So that's how I found out about it. And then when she came back, I was living in Arkansas at the time. When she came back, we were going to the same college, and she was a campus representative for the college program. And she told me they were coming to our school and doing presentation and everything. So I was like, sure, why not? I'll give it a try. So I went to the presentation, and I don't really remember it that much. I do remember the interview was like a group interview, and got my acceptance letter like a couple days later. And yeah, so that's how I learned about it, found out about it.
What made you decide to do like Fall Advantage instead of just fall? I like asking this question because I chose fall, and sometimes I still I don't regret it because I wouldn't have had like the roommate and met some of the people I did, but I also do regret it because Fall Advantage seems like so much more fun.
It was. Yeah, because you're there longer. I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to be there longer, a long, time and take it all in. Because again, like I said, I had never been to Disney, went there once, as a senior in high school. And so I don't know. I just wanted to be there for a lot longer.
Yeah, get the full experience. I'm still jealous. Well, so what do you remember about your check-in experience? And again, this is stuff that I talked a lot about with Jonathan in episode 1 of this 2002 series. So if anybody's missed it, you can check it out on my YouTube channel or on my website as a podcast entry. It's also on Spotify. Just look for the Geek Saga podcast. And it was probably my most recent podcast episode, maybe second most recent. But anyway, so you missed that episode. So I wanted to just kind of check in with you and see like what you remembered about your check-in experience, your job assignment, your training, like basically the very beginning things.
Yeah. So I check in. I remember so I didn't have a car at the time. My mom and I drove down. She drove me down. And I remember getting there, going to check in. I remember them handing like my key, like to my apartment, things like that. And getting to the apartment, and meeting my roommates. And actually, because I was from Arkansas, one of my roommates was from Arkansas. And so we ended up rooming together. But yeah, I don't know. The check-in, it was all kind of a blur. Everybody was just, running around, meeting new people. It's like I don't really remember details.
Nobody does. It's been 20
Right?
years. I mean, I
20
can't believe
years.
it's been 20 years, but it's been 20 fucking years. Like,
And I knew I was going to be in, they called it merchantainment. So I knew I was going to be in like the gift shops. I just didn't know where. And then when I was checking in, I found out it was going to be in Epcot. And so I was at Epcot, like front entrance, all the gift shops up there, strollers, Leave a Legacy. Yeah. And then training, I remember we had like an 8-hour day of just learning how to do the registers and like practicing that. I remember that. And but yeah, that's pretty much all I remember.
yeah, I never had to learn to do the registers. Even though I worked in foods, where I worked, Pizzafari, the registers were reserved for long time full-time cast members, basically.
Yeah.
College program people did. I think there were a couple college programmers who had been like spring or whatever, or maybe fall and extended to spring advantage or something. Basically, they extended their program, so they've been there for a long time. So once in a great while, a couple of them got to work registers. But I can't say that I really. At the time, I was kind of pissy about it, but like looking back, I'm really glad I didn't have to deal with that, because when I did eventually have to learn registers when I was a restaurant manager at Disney, it was like, I mean, I could handle it. It's not exactly that difficult, but just everything behind it, and like having to deal with people who are pissed and giving them refunds and stuff. No, thank you. Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say about giving the refunds. It just made me think of being at Strollers when I wear strollers, and we had to, at the time, we would give out Disney dollars. I don't know if anyone remembers Disney dollars.
Yeah.
And so when you rented a stroller, you would get like $1 back or something when you brought it back, and we would give them a Disney dollar, and people would yell at us, and they're like, "I don't want fake money. I want real money." And I'm like, "It's real. Like you can use it in the parks.
You can use it anywhere at Disney.
Like Disney stores or
it's
whatever.
Real here." It's not real outside of here, but it's real right here. But right here is all like the resorts, the parks, everything.
Right?
I mean, I guess it's better than getting nothing back. I also feel like a dollar isn't very much, but strollers were what, like $7 a day or something to rent back then? They were super cheap.
Something like that. Yeah, like $8. I think it was like $8, I think, or something. $8-9, and then you get $1 back. I don't know.
Yeah. I find it. I forgot that you worked in the area that also had strollers, because I have it in my head that you worked. What was that? What was that thing called at Epcot? The where you got to the etchings? Wasn't that part of what you did as well?
Yes, Leave a Legacy.
Yeah, there you go.
I worked Leave a Legacy. That was a nightmare. It was hard because you had so many different people from so many different cultures, so many different languages, and you had to fill out like these forms, because once we take your picture, we mail you like a copy of it, like a little clear, it's on this little, and it comes in a little booklet. And the forms were just very generic, and you'd have people from the UK or people from Japan or people, and like you're trying to figure out how, and so nobody really got their pictures because the addresses wouldn't be right, wouldn't go in correctly or something. So a lot of people would just be like, "Okay, never got my picture."
Was it like handwritten or automated?
It was, well, you had to put it in the computer. So
okay,
what's the computer? Well, they had to fill it out. I think they had to take the thing and fill it out, and then we had to put it in the computer.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they filled it out handwritten.
But then they would be like, or if they didn't really speak English, it was hard because they would be like pointing, and we're like, I don't know. So that was hard.
I imagine it would be a lot easier now because they could just have kiosks where people put their information in on their own, and maybe they would have thought about, the fact that country codes are different and all that fun stuff. But oh gosh, Disney does love to implement things that they like haven't really figured out what they're doing way too soon. Oh, they do. All of the current, like the ride system stuff, the what do they call it? Like a fat lightning lane and stuff now. Like that stuff is, to me, it's such a nonsense mess. Anyway, that's now. This is 20 years ago. Holy shit. Okay, so now that we're all caught up, we're going to chat about the fun and maybe at times not so fun parts of being on the college program in the heat of the Florida summer. I'm also very proud of myself for the name of this episode because I thought about it for like a while and I didn't have any idea what to call it. And then I think I saw this band that I saw live back in April. They did like a Wet Hot American Summer themed photo shoot, and I was like, "Oh, Wet Hot Walt Disney World Summer." It even has the right like cadence, you know. So anyway, I'm very proud of myself for the name of this episode. Go me. Sometimes I do smart things. It's rare, but it happens. So I don't know. So I will say when you checked in, I can't remember if I think I met you like the day you checked in.
Yes,
Maybe the day after, because I don't ask me how, because back then like cell phones weren't a big thing.
Yeah.
But somehow I found out like immediately that my friends from the 2001 program, which would be Ryan, Bo, and Nick. Nate.
Oh.
Nate. Why is it Nate? Yeah, it was Nate. It was Nate. I don't know why I said Nick. Whatever. It was a 4-letter N name. I love the guy, but I haven't talked to him in several years now.
Right.
Not 20 years, but several.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Ryan, Bo, and Nate, they all checked in, and I can't remember if they were rooming together. Well, I know Nate and Ryan were. I don't think Bo was, because he was summer only.
Yeah, he might. I don't remember.
Yeah, he was only summer, I believe.
I do remember checking in. So I checked in, I think, on the 27th of May. And I remember standing outside the apartment, and they were in the apartment directly above us. Mm-hmm. So I remember standing there, and I think it was Bo and somebody, they were outside, and they were like, "Hey, come up here." Like, you know, because everyone's just meeting each other, you know? Mm-hmm. So we went up there, and I don't know if you were up there or not, but I remember being up there, meeting everybody. And then we went to downtown Disney. We went to Pleasure Island that night. I don't know. I think you went. Did you go?
I don't remember, but I do know that I think I did, but like, I also do know that I met you, if not the day you checked in, then certainly the day after, because like I said, I knew like immediately where they were. It had to have been the day you checked in, and I had to have gone with you that night.
I think you did,
just for a little while, because however I found out that they were there, whether they called my cell phone, there wasn't texting back then, so they couldn't have texted me, or whether I like had AIM open on my laptop in my apartment or something. That's also a possibility. You know, however it happened, I knew pretty much immediately that they were there, and I'd known they were coming down as well. So yeah, I went over and met them and met you guys, which was kind of like a godsend, because I was not having, like, my immediate roommate was really great, but the rest of my apartment was a fucking miserable hell. That became like worse and worse as the summer went on, to the point where like I was looking back through some old things and found, and I'm not going to talk about this particular thing in this episode. I'm going to talk about it in the third and final one that we're going to do in August. But I like it like came to a head like the last couple days we were there, where I basically had to go out in the living room and like scream at some of our roommates for being just super nasty to one of the girls who was living there. But yeah, it was a godsend to like, oh my God, I have friends from my 2001 program. Not that I'd already met new friends there and everything, but just like going back to kind of the old fold, right? Like Nate and I and Bo and I, well, Nate and I especially have been super close on the fall 2001 program, and Bo and I were good friends too. Like we hung out quite a bit. Ryan, I didn't know quite so well, but yeah, having that sort of safety net, and then meeting you guys, like you and your roommates, and being like, and literally crashing on your couch for like almost every night for weeks, because I could not stand being in my apartment, was a huge help to what kind of started off as a shitty summer for me, because I really didn't like my job. Like I didn't realize, like, I mean, I complained about my job at Pirates, but when I looking back now, working at Pizza Fari was nowhere near as bad as I thought it was. In fact, like when I was a manager and I was a manager at studios, and the places that I was managing were the biggest, like they were like the biggest turnover, right? Like in the whole park in terms of quick service. And it was also like fryers and grills and just hot ass shit like all the time. Working at Pizza Fari was posh compared to that. And I realized that I was kind of a spoiled brat about having to work there. But yeah, I didn't like my job, and my roommates, like not my immediate roommate was fine, but the rest of the people in my apartment were shit. And I was just kind of not having the greatest time. And then you guys all showed up, and it was all of a sudden like party, party, party. And I don't necessarily mean drinking party, although that happened too. But I don't know. So like when you first got there, and you met your neighbors, like they were the apartment directly above you. I was correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember the random like welcome cookout we had? I think it was like the first couple days you were there.
Yes.
We actually utilized. Yeah, did we actually utilize the grills by the pool? That seems dangerous.
So. Yeah. Yeah, that's a little sketch. Yeah, I do remember that. Because I remember them playing volleyball. I think I sat on the side and watched, but yeah, I remember the volleyball. Yeah, that was our little cookout.
Yeah, I have like no actual memories of it. I have like one picture, I think. It's just of us like hanging out on the wall by the pool, and but I remember it happening, right? Like I remember us having this little cookout, and it's like we did that. That was a cute thing that we did.
It was.
Weren't we adorable?
Yes.
Back and gosh, I don't think any of us were 21. Ryan and Nate turned 21 later in the college program. But we definitely had alcohol. Did somebody have a fake ID? I know it was no one in your apartment.
No. Somebody must have, because we were all underage. None of my roommates weren't.
Yeah. And well, yeah, because everybody was stuck in a wellness apartment immediately, even, like Ryan and Nate, who were literally turning 21, I think 2 or 3 months later.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. Honestly, I knew people who were over 21, so it could have been me who helped provide the booze, but that was the thing that happened.
Yes, it did.
But it was cute that we had the little cookout, and I think that the only reason that happened is because I already knew, some of them from the previous program, right? Like, because I think it was the guys that instigated it. Probably. I don't know. I am old now, and I still don't know how to use a grill. Okay, I've never had to. Right? Like I've always had somebody there to do it for me.
Exactly.
It's not a cooking thing I've had to teach myself or cared to teach myself. Cooking over an open flame, no thanks.
I do remember when you cooked, and because I had a picture, and it was like you and me, and we were like, and you made spaghetti or something, and we're like, first time cooking in the apartment or something like that.
Well, because someone had a George Foreman grill, and I cooked frozen burgers on the George Foreman grill and chopped them up and put them in the spaghetti sauce because
I think it was upstairs. It was at the guy's apartment.
Frozen burgers were cheaper than like actual ground beef. So it was like, oh, I don't need to like actually cook ground beef on the stovetop. I can just like George Foreman these frozen burgers. It was good though. It was really good. Like to the point where actually I hadn't thought about that in a long time. But now I kind of have this like need to cook burgers on the grill and chop that up and put it in the spaghetti sauce.
There you go.
Instead of cooking ground beef on the stovetop. It was really good though. I also remember that. Random whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, college program cooking. That's probably the best meal I ate all summer, honestly. So yeah, and then I became like BFFs with you guys, and I remember so of your roommates, it was you, Karen, Amanda,
Melanie, Devin. What's her name? The one from Boston.
Okay.
From Boston.
Vaguely remember Devin now that you say the name.
I think it was Devin. And I remember she ended up leaving early because she had gotten in that car accident. But she was from Boston. Her and Melanie had the front room, the private bathroom. And then me and my roommate had the middle room. And then Karen and Amanda had the back room.
Who was your roommate?
I don't know. I can't remember her name.
Oh my
God.
Was
so sweet. Oh, you know what? I probably have it. Because I had like a little at the end of the program had everyone write in the thing. But
I have that too.
Yeah.
I was looking at my scanned like journal stuff earlier, and all these like notes from the people as I was leaving, and I was like, I can't read these right now. Like, I can't read this right now. This is almost 20 fucking years ago. I can't look at it.
Yeah. Karen and Amanda had that back room. Yeah.
I do remember that. Okay, so now that you say Devin, I'm pretty sure you're right, and that was her name, and I do vaguely remember her, but she didn't ever really hang out with any of us.
No, she didn't.
And then upstairs it was Ryan and Nate for sure, and Bobby,
and Tim.
Oh, Tim. Okay, I remember Tim now that you say Tim.
Tim. Who else?
It's funny because like I ended up like I slept in their apartment a few times too, but like I mostly slept on y'all's couch.
Yeah.
Like I literally had a second comforter, my SpongeBob comforter.
I was just gonna say that I found a picture of you
just wrapped up in the SpongeBob. Yeah, I have that picture too. And the funny thing is, it's like I bought that at Walmart because I was like, well, I don't want to trek my other comforter back and forth for when I do actually like have to be forced to stay, you know, in my apartment because I have to work early or some bullshit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I paid $20 for that stupid SpongeBob comforter, and I'm not even kidding you. I had that SpongeBob comforter until probably 2013 or 2014. I had that thing for over a decade. And the only reason I don't have it now is because one of the houses I moved out of, I like forgot it there. And then it just, you know, I had to get it back. Or wait, no, shoot, it might have been longer than that. It might have ended up back in Florida at some point. I don't know, whatever.
Maybe.
I had it for more than 10 years, that $20 Walmart SpongeBob comforter. That was
I remember
my lifesaver.
Sitting by the pool, and you had it wrapped around you one time. We're just sitting by the pool because the pool was right there outside our building.
Yeah,
I don't know what we were doing or why.
The secondary pool, the less dirty Vista Way pool.
I remember when it was pouring down raining, and Tim put on all the rain gear that he went and jumped in the pool.
The thing is, like, my first college program was just kind of a blur of drunkenness, and I absolutely partied quite a bit on my summer 2002 program, but I also didn't party a lot. Like I partied quite a bit, but it was like a third or less of my first one. Some of that being the wellness apartment stuff. Some of it being I didn't have full-timer friends who I was like able to go hang out with who were over 21. And I think that, like, looking back, I had a lot of really stupid fun memories from the summer program that I didn't really get to have on my first one, which is weird because I didn't really have a lot of work on my first college program because after 9/11 happened, they cut our hours down like crazy. And basically until Thanksgiving, we were getting 32 hours a week if we were lucky. Like, I think they had to give us 32.
Yeah.
So we were getting 32 hours a week, and that was it. So you'd think that I would have had more time to do just kind of random fun stuff. And not that we didn't, but it was just a lot of partying. And this time around, it was harder to party. So we did things like have cookouts and oh my gosh. And try to, you were at, oh my gosh, the beach club cafe. What is that called? Beaches and Cream.
Yes. Beaches and Cream.
Didn't we go there for like food or maybe just ice cream,
Yes.
and someone, Bobby, maybe tried to eat the kitchen sink?
Yes, he did. And he had to go, he went to the bathroom because he's like, does it still count if I go throw up and come back? And they were like, yeah.
He didn't finish it though. It
No.
melted too much.
I know. And then
and then he tried to like recreate it by buying a giant tub of cheap ass Walmart ice cream. And I think him and Tim both, they had like an ice cream eating contest out on the sidewalk outside your building. I have pictures of it, of them just like face deep in giant tubs of ice cream.
I remember that. Yeah.
One or both of them also threw up from that. Yeah. So this is the fun that we had on our 2002 college program that wasn't as, party central, at least not at the beginning for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, you were young. You were like young too. What, 18, 19?
18. I was 18.
Okay. So that's how old I was.
Or I turned 18.
You had to have been 18 when you started. So you must have turned 19.
Probably. Yeah. You're right.
But so yeah, there was definitely a lot more sober fun on this one, for me at least, than there was. Well, for me, than there was on my first program. So as you before we touch on some more fun, crazy stuff we did, let's get back to the actual like work stuff, actual college program stuff.
Yeah.
So as you kind of got used to your job and everything, I don't know, what were your experiences like? I've never worked at Epcot. It's my favorite park. Maybe it's still my favorite park because I've never worked there. Who knows? We'll never know. We'll never know. I have tattoos on the back of my neck, so Disney will never hire me. Oh wait, no, that changed.
Oh, yeah, it did change.
Yeah, that changed. So they would hire me now, assholes. Yeah. But it's fine. I don't want you anyway, Disney. So yeah, what were your experiences like when you settled into your job and I don't know, working at Epcot? I mean, you talked a little bit about the difficulties of working Leave a Legacy and strollers, but I don't know, like general feelings and thoughts on getting used to it and how that felt.
Yeah, it was crazy because I did all the front entrance stuff. So like there was a it was called Gift Stop, and it was outside the park. So before you come in the park, and that's where is package pickup, lost and found, all that. And then I did Leave a Legacy, strollers, and then I did the 2 gift shops underneath Spaceship Earth. So the camera shop and Gateway Gifts. And then at that time, we were still sitting out and renting lockers. So I had to rent lockers to people too. Now they just go in and do it themselves. But so I had to do that. But yeah, it was kind of, I liked it because we kind of bounced around. So I wasn't just in strollers all the time or just in this one spot. So I kind of got to move around, which was nice. And but it was busy. It was very busy. And then even so sometimes when you worked Leave a Legacy, you would have to stand underneath Spaceship Earth, and you would, because they had the big, I actually have it. I'm looking at it right now. I have the we would print all the photos that we would take and we would display them underneath Spaceship Earth. They used to have this thing. And so you could come back and see your picture before you left. And so we'd have to stand up there and just talk to people about it. But you basically were giving directions the whole time you were standing there. Oh, how do I get to test track? How do I get here? How do I get here? And it was always, and then now you can't say it anymore because the fountain's gone. But you'd be like, up to the fountain, take a right, up to the fountain, take a left. It was just constantly just giving instructions. My favorite was when guests would ask how to get to Disney World. And I would just say, you're here, yay. And they'd be like, no, Disney World with a castle. I'm like, Magic Kingdom. Okay, yeah. And so it was just, that the guests asking questions constantly. Strollers was tough, especially in the summer, because we had those ECVs, electric wheelchair, those things, and they would break down, and you'd have to go out in the park and take them a new one. And the only thing is, when they broke down, you can't ride them back. You have to push them.
Oh.
And here I am in the middle of July
Talk about wet, hot Walt Disney World summer.
Wet, hot Walt Disney World summer. Middle of July, here I am. I had to go back, and they had them at the back of the park too, at the World Showcase entrance. They had them there too. So if it happened in certain countries, then they would take care of it. But if not, we would take care of it. So we would go up to probably like Norway or something. And I had to go all the way back there to take an ECV to someone. And the one that I was getting was completely just dead. So you have to push it, and you can't push it fast because it would stop. It would just stop. And so you're going like really slow in the middle of July in Florida. And I'm like,
and you're wearing like a polo shirt, right?
Yeah. And so I'm doing this. And as you're doing this, of course, all the guests are like, why don't you ride it? Why don't you get on it and ride it? And I'm like, I would love to right now.
The reason why I'm here is because it's not rideable.
It's not working. Did you not see me go by with the other one? So that was tough. But yeah, I mean, all the people I worked with, it was so much fun at Epcot. Epcot was fun, especially like during Food and Wine Festival, which was later, not really summer, but I'd come to work and like run to the back and like get something from one of the booths and come back up to the front.
See, it's cool that you guys are allowed to do stuff like that. So I worked at Disney World.
You did? The one with the castle?
The one with the castle, my first college program. And so I did, thankfully I never got the questions, but we always got the, what time is the 3 o'clock parade? And it's like, oh, you're hilarious. Like I haven't been asked this 5,000 times in the past like 3 months. But and working at Animal Kingdom, I didn't, I actually was like almost never, I was almost always in the kitchen, which was great in terms of basically the only time I had to work the front was lunch rush. And so that was great because I didn't really have to deal with like people, which normally I'm not that type of person. I don't mind dealing with people, but there is a big difference between dealing with people in attractions and dealing with people in foods. So like the times that people were rude to me at attractions, it's like, I'm sorry, there's something I can do to help you. The times that people were rude to me in foods, I mean, it was like the time I got a pizza thrown at me. That was fun. So yeah. We didn't properly slice this guy's pizza. And when I told him he couldn't have the pizza cutter that we kept behind the counter, he was like, how am I supposed to cut this with plastic knives? And he threw it at my chest. Yeah. And I marched back to the manager's office and I was like, I'm going home. Hey, there's pizza all over my costume. And it's not like Magic Kingdom where I could just go to the costume department,
right,
and get another one and come back in 30 minutes or whatever. Even if I had been able to do that, it's like, no, I'm gone.
No, I'm going.
I'm gone. Peace out.
Yeah. Well, it was crazy because at when I worked later shifts, so at the end of the night, everybody's leaving and we're right up there in the front entrance. And so when I worked at the camera shop, that was when you had the pictures and everyone was coming in right at the end of the night to look at their pictures and pick out their pictures, and you had to print them and all that. That was crazy because the lines were but it always made it go by really quick. But yeah, that was, the one thing I liked about it though, when I worked strollers at night, we could hear Illuminations every night, and that was fun. We'd just be out there dancing around to Illuminations music.
Yeah, I had when I worked at Pirates, especially the couple months after 9/11, they still needed to do Fantasy in the Sky because fireworks have an expiration date. So they would have Fantasy in the Sky happening as we were exiting Pirates, having closed it for the night. So, you could stop and watch it, or it would just be there as you're like walking across stage to go down under the tunnels by Pecos Bills. And it was really cool, like, to see that. And I didn't get any of that at Animal Kingdom. I did talk some in the first episode of this 2002 series about how much working at Animal Kingdom made me, and particularly going through Declamation, made me appreciate Animal Kingdom as a park way more than I ever thought I would. Like, I actually would say it's my second favorite park after Epcot, just because of that, although it's changed in recent years. Like all the little secret spots I used to go to where I could like hide away in a grotto and like watch the fish under the water. There's a billion people there all the time, everywhere, and it's not the way it used to be. It's not the way it used to be.
No. Not a
But
zoo. Remember that?
yeah,
Not a zoo.
not a zoo. Oh,
Not a zoo.
those commercials were terrible. They were terrible. Hilarious, but terrible. So I mean, going back to like things that we did, and speaking of, you know, wet hot American summers, I just had to bring this up because I think this is an experience that, how many times have you not just gone to Disney, but gone to, I mean, Universal, gone to anywhere that has a giant parking lot and you just don't think to note where your car is, like, or you note it, but it's like, maybe you're wrong, or you note it like a minute too late and you're thinking it's like Goofy, you know, 30, I'm making these numbers up, Goofy 36, when it's actually like Pluto 1, because Goofy ends at 40 or some bullshit. Because, you know, these parking lots make no sense, and the signage is better now, but it wasn't
right.
It wasn't as good then. And
No.
it's still like you should note these things. P.S. Secret tip, I always just message, like I take where I'm parked and I message it either to whoever I'm with, or like if I go to the parks by myself, which I've done quite a few times, I will message it to like my mom if I'm traveling with her, or when I lived down there, my significant other at the time, he would be at work and I'd be like, hey, I'm parked in like, I don't know, like Donald Duck 42.
I just take a picture. Sometimes I take a picture at the end where it says like, you know,
oh, that's smart too.
Goofy 53 or whatever.
But then
I
you take more pictures and you have to go back to your pictures. True. For me, it's a like, and also then I can always go back to my message and be like, oh God, where did I tell you I was again? But yeah, the time we went to Magic Kingdom, did we get rained out because that summer it rained a lot, and I'm not talking like 3 o'clock. I'm not talking the normal, okay, it's Florida and it's going to rain in the afternoon. It was like, there was
torrential
like
downpour.
There was weeks at a time where, yeah, it was torrential downpours like every day for like, not just the afternoon, like all day.
It was. That was a crazy summer. Yeah, because normally if you know, if you live in Florida or you've been in Florida, you know, in the summer it rains every day and it's either 5 minutes or it's all day or whatever. But yeah, that day, I remember, that is one of the memories that just sticks out. We're on the tram and we're like, yeah, we know where we parked. And it's like torrential downpour. And we get off the tram and we just start running. I couldn't see anything. Nope. I don't know about you. Nope. I couldn't see because the rain was just coming down so hard.
And it's one of those things where I have forgotten nearly everything. But every once in a while, there's this one thing that sticks out in your memory. And I remember just being soaked to the goddamn bone, not being able to see anything. And you and I running from like, and I'm like beeping my car key, like beeping my alarm, like trying to find my car, like. Oh,
that was,
gosh.
And didn't we have to go somewhere or something, and that's why we left? I don't know. I thought we had to be somewhere or something.
I mean, we had to be somewhere, which probably meant like we had to go back like and drink or something, like drink with our friends, or maybe that was the night we went to Beaches and Cream. Who knows? Maybe we needed to go watch Bobby dive into the pool in his rain gear, because that we also could have been called back for something stupid as fuck like that.
Right. I don't know. I don't remember, but I remember getting in your car. We were soaked, like just everything
to the bone. And we might have been wearing like sneakers too. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go check the parks. We got to wear sneakers. So like, because for some reason I went from being super smart and wearing, you know, smart shoes to the parks to like, I'm gonna wear like ballet flats and flip flops for years. And like ballet flats and flip flops are comfy at first, but then not eventually, and also bad for your feet and legs. And also, like, if you're in flip-flops and it starts raining like that, then you're really screwed. You're like 10 times screwed, because those things are just like I've broken flip-flops from like slipping around.
You slip and slide everywhere. It's ridiculous.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that summer. And again, I harken back to the title of this episode, Wet Hot Walt Disney World Summer, because it really was weirdly rainy that summer. I mean, way more so than it should have, than it usually is.
Yeah.
And I guess like things are different now, you know, global warming, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
back then that was, I think at that point, it was like the wettest summer on record in like decades.
Yeah.
For Florida, for Central Florida. So yeah, that was one of those memories that it's like, it's not really a fun memory, but I remember it.
Remember it. And but then it just makes it too so muggy, just so hot and muggy after it's done. And then you feel so gross. I remember, I don't know, I went with, it was me and Bo and Devin. I don't remember who all was there, but we went to MGM when they had the Backlot Tour. And we, I don't know, do you remember the Backlot Tour? Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember it. I don't remember when they got rid of it, but I remember it
either. But so then they had where you could volunteer and you could do the little scene where you were on the little ship and stuff. So we got picked to do it. And so I think it was me and Bobby and Bo, I think, and maybe Devin. I don't remember who else was up there, but I remember we went out there and they made you put on these like rain suit things because you get wet, you know, during the scene. And they smelled so bad because everyone, now that I think back to it, I'm like, why did I put that thing on in the middle of summer in Florida after all these other guests?
Oh, I've been there one time. We almost had to, it's a long ass story. We almost had to, this is on my first college program, but we almost had to evac pirates because when the ride is, I think it's like 15 or 20 minutes, we're allowed to wait. It was either 15 or 20. Let's say it was 15. It was probably 20 because Disney, but the ride had been shut down for 20 minutes. Nobody could figure out what the heck was wrong. Like maintenance had been called. And they showed up as we were getting they were like suspender things, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, same thing. It's like, who the fuck has worn this? And it's been wet and it never dried properly and it stinks. There's probably fucking, like, I probably am gonna end up with cancer from like the mold. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, I am a little bit, maybe not so much because like I only wore it for a couple minutes because that's the fun part about that was we got in the effing water because that's what we were told to do. That was the evacuation process. And then the maintenance person just apparently, like, I don't know, didn't care or didn't know that we were in the water and started the ride up.
Oh.
Now the boats they're in like metal, like there's like metal things that hold them in place, right? They're like slightly under the water. So there was no way we were going to get run over by a boat. But when those jets start up, they're strong as fuck. And this guy, I think his name was Theo. I did not like him. So I might be misremembering his name, but I'm pretty sure his name was Theo. He and I are in the water, like about to take these people, like help these people off this boat. And it was an evac point. So they wouldn't have had to go in the water. It was just like a step over, but we had to get in the water to help them out. Right. And they started up the jets and we were both like, whoa, what the fuck? This is like so dangerous. Why would you do that? And then we got yelled at because they're like, you shouldn't have been in the water. And we're like,
of course. Thanks.
It was like minutes past. Like we had gone down there. We waited until like the 15 or 20 minute mark. We got the stupid galoshes, suspenders things on. And by the time we did that and got in the water, it was like several minutes past the mark where we were supposed to be evacuating people. But somehow it's our fault because it's Disney.
Of course.
Anyway, that's a 2001 story that I don't think I told. I'm pretty sure I didn't tell my first one. But so anyway, speaking of, you know, the rain and everything, I'm going to skip. Well, actually, you know, I'm going to stick with, so there was a point where I just stopped caring about working.
Yeah.
And I basically, anytime I could get an ER, I got an ER. Anytime and I called out. I called out a lot. I never got a point because I was smart about it. but I called out a lot because I didn't want to be there. And I was like, they have plenty of people. Like,
They're fine.
They're fine. Like, it's not like Pirates where if one of the closing people calls out, then they have to extend somebody because they've put the minimum number of closing people there. It's, there's always like 2 or 3 extra people closing these restaurants, at least back then. Mm-hmm. So I mean now, when I became a manager, I felt really bad about my lack of work ethic that summer. But in that moment I didn't. So I was getting ERs whenever I could. And when I couldn't, I was, or when I could call out, I was calling out. And I don't remember if this was a call out situation or I don't think it was actually, but did you go when we went to Cocoa Beach at 2 a.m? Did you go with us?
I did not. I don't think so. I remember going to Cocoa Beach, but I think it was a day thing. I think I went during the day.
This was like a bunch of us from
Europe. I didn't go to that. I know
Karen was there. I'm pretty sure Amanda might have been there. I know Ryan and Nate were there. Mm-hmm. Possibly Bobby and Tim, maybe.
I remember you guys going, but yeah, I did not. I don't know why I didn't go.
We're like, yeah, let's just drive to Cocoa Beach. It's fine. Drive an hour to Cocoa Beach.
No big deal.
2 o'clock in the morning. What are you going to do at Cocoa Beach at 2 o'clock in the morning? You're going to go to the beach and sit on the beach for like an hour or 2. And then you're going to go to, what's that the big surf shop there? I keep wanting to think I keep thinking it's Jimmy John's. That's a fucking that's a sandwich shop. Oh gosh.
Ron John's?
Ron John's. There we go.
There you go.
Hey, that's right. I was half right. It's fine.
Were they open 24 hours?
Yes, they're open. They were obviously probably very different now, but yes, the big, 4-story Ron John surf shop was open, 24 hours. Jonathan pops into the chat. Ron John. Oh gosh, yeah.
You have all the stickers. Ron John's Orlando. Ron John.
Yeah, Ron John's Clearwater. Ron John's because they were everywhere, but the Clearwater one was the OG. So obviously, yeah, whatever. I mean, by the time we actually went to Ron John's, it was probably 5 a.m. because we drove an hour and then we sat on the beach for a couple hours and then we went to Ron John's. But there were also a lot of other beach trips that summer. I know that, and again, you guys were good employees who went to work. But me, I just kind of created my days off around when you guys had your days. So my days off might have been Tuesday and Wednesday, but if Kelly's are Wednesday and Thursday and we wanted to go to the beach on Thursday, guess who's calling out of work? So that's me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm calling out of work. So I can't remember how many times we all went to the beach, but we definitely did Clearwater.
Yeah.
Or Clearwater. And I remember Daytona that was supposed, and I think that was supposed to be a Cocoa Beach trip because you missed, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's because you missed out on our middle of the night one. We were like, we got to take Kelly to Cocoa Beach. But then we went to get on the B line, which is now called the Beach Line. It was originally called the B line because it went straight to Cocoa Beach. But then years and years later, they renamed it the Beach Line. And it's I prefer the B line, but fine.
Right.
But the B line, the Beach Line was closed because of an accident, which happens, trust me, regularly. Because when I lived in Florida, 15 years later, it happened at least twice in the 2 years that I lived, less than 2 years that I lived there. But we were supposed to go to Cocoa. We couldn't. So we went to Daytona and it was just it was so cold. It was cold. It was chilly. I mean, cold as in it was 70 degrees.
Right.
Kind of windy. And it was this is our beach trip. Okay.
Yeah.
But we went to another surf shop because I guess that's what you do.
That's what you do. Beaches
I still have the shirts that we bought that day.
I do too.
I'm going to share that picture. Whenever I post this as a podcast episode on my website, I'm putting that picture on there. Kelly and I bought these shorts that at the time we thought we were super hilarious because it said "bite me" across.
Bite me.
We're designer velour pants back in the day would say "juicy" or whatever.
Yeah, it says "bite me." I still have them, and I think I bought some that said Daytona on them too. It says Daytona Beach. But
Yeah, I think I might have as well, but the Bite Me ones were the quintessential shorts of that summer.
And that picture, the picture you're talking about, is funny because of the poster up behind us.
Oh God, I don't remember the poster.
In the guy's apartment. The black light
Oh
poster.
God, black light posters. Our friends were so cool. They weren't. None of us were cool.
We thought we were.
So yeah, but I mean, we did get to go to Clearwater too, and I guess also because did any of your roommates have cars? I know you didn't. I don't think Amanda did.
I think Melanie did. I don't know if Karen. I don't remember. I think Melanie did, and maybe Karen. I think that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember, like I said, I tailored my days off to you guys. And I'm saying this now as somebody who, really not even once I became a manager, but once I got out of college and had full-time jobs, it was like, I am that type of person that would go into work sick even when I shouldn't, Nowadays, thankfully, I've been working from home for a billion years, but even like before that, when I was working in an office and especially looking back now in the world that we're living in, I'm like, oh my God, how many times did I infect people with like the flu or a cold or a stomach bug or something? Probably not a stomach bug, because if I was throwing up, I would call out, but that didn't really happen that often. Like, how many times did I go to work like sick when I shouldn't have? But generally, I'm the type of person who, never called out of work once I got into the real world. And even on my first college program, I never called out of work on my first college program, ever. I think at the very end I had to once, because I got some sort of stomach bug or something. I was super, super ill, and weirdly enough, it happened over New Year's, and they were like super pissed at me about it. And I was like, I'm throwing up. Do you want me to come into work throwing up? I don't think you do. But yeah, I looking back, it's like, oh God, I had like no work ethic that summer. And I do regret that, again, like I said, especially because having been a restaurant manager and knowing that even if you don't think it hurts them, it does kind of hurt them probably. So I do regret it a little bit, but at the same time, it made for some good memories. Like there's definitely trips I took with you guys that I would have taken.
Right.
if I'd actually gone to work. And okay, so for me, our paths split a little bit for a while, because not entirely, because we still saw each other a few times, but our paths split a little while because one of my friends from my 2001 college program came back to Florida and was like staying in Sarasota for a month. And that led to me going to Sarasota quite a bit. Like the rest of my summer from like late June on became me trekking back and forth to visit him in Sarasota, which for me was great because it was like, I get to go to the beach in Sarasota a whole bunch. And then like he came to Orlando though. And this was something you were involved in, because we got to do things like take a limo to go clubbing in downtown Orlando. And like,
what was that place called? Like 8 seconds?
Also doesn't exist anymore. And I was reading through some things that I'd written down again, like when I was there, and our friend Amanda forgot her license, but somehow we got her in anyway, which is crazy because she looked like she was 12.
I was just gonna say, the one that forgets her driver's license looks the youngest. Like there's no way. We're like, there's no way you're getting in. You look like you're 12, like you're not. But I think the bouncer was like asking her a bunch of questions and just kept asking questions. And then finally was like, okay, you can go in or something. Cause we were all, 18 or older or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember the exact reasoning, but also like it's a group of girls going to a country bar, and like, we're all cute, right? And
Yeah.
Amanda's super cute, but
Yeah.
just looks very, very young.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, of course it's the one who looks
Yeah.
like she's 12 who
And we
forgets
were halfway there when she realized it. So it wasn't like we could just go
in a
back.
limo.
Yeah,
For some reason. Like that guy that we had the limo with, his dad owned like a limo company in Orlando, I think. His name was Ryan. I do remember that. He was, not my kind of cute, but he was a good looking guy. And I remember I remember like he was talking about basically like his dad owned this limo company, so he knew like NSYNC and shit, because like his dad's limo company was the company that used to drive them around, and I was just like, oh, I feel so cool.
Oh,
like in 2002, you once upon a time drove like Justin Timberlake around, and not you, him specifically, but like he knew them, right? And I was like, oh, this is like a cool thing. And looking back now, I'm just like, oh God, what the fuck happened that summer?
What was life?
Well, and I guess like here's my question. While I was, calling out of work and going to Sarasota for like 3 days a week every week, because I at one point Amanda went with me. At one point, another cool thing that we got to do that you weren't there for, but I know it was because you had to work, because it was on like a Saturday, and I believe like Amanda and Melanie had the day off, but and I think I requested it off actually ahead of time, because that's the other thing. Pizza Fire was like really overstaffed that summer, so like I could request time off and just get it. Yeah, like I had 4th of July off. I like wasn't even scheduled for it. Like I think it was a Tuesday or something, right? Anyway, so it was like my normal day off.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we went, and like my friend from my 2001 college program, like it was actually the limo guy, like one of his like family friends or something had like a lake house and a boat, so we got to spend the day drinking on his boat on this lake.
I remember you guys going.
Yeah, that was a fun day for the most part. There were some not fun things about it, but the like if I ignore the like one not fun thing about it, then the rest of the day was great. And it had nothing to do with me directly, but yeah, that while we were off doing all these things after the 8 seconds debacle, what were you doing all summer other than working? Because there was definitely like a month where I like basically didn't see you.
Yeah, well, so when you do the college program and you're going to go back to your school, you can take the classes at Disney and get the credit, right? Well, I did one of the classes. I don't think I finished it because I remember one day Karen came in my room and she like woke me up. She's like, "What are you doing today?" And I was like, "I have a class. I have to go to my class." She's like, "No, you're not going." And I was like, "Oh, okay." She goes, "We're going to go to MGM and there's going to be these there's people there. We have to go see." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So I blew up my class. And it was like July. It had to be July or August. It was hot. It was so hot. And we get there, and it was like they were doing the promotions for like the sitcoms like coming out that fall, like September or whatever. So Drew Carey was there, John Ritter and Katie Seagal. And like we get there and we're standing, like there's a rope, it's all roped off, and we're standing there and we're just like, la la la, oh my God, this is so cool. And like meanwhile, we're just like sweating. And we're like in direct sunlight and stuff. And it was so funny because John Ritter was right in front of us, and he had like these like the Mickey hands, like the big white gloves on, and they had earpieces in because they were doing interviews. And he told the guy standing next to Karen, he was like, "Hey, if this comes out come under the rope and just push it back in my ear, please. And the guy was like, can I do that? And he goes, yeah. So every time it would come out, this guy would have to go under and like push it in. And you could hear him, whoever was interviewing, he's like, oh yeah, that's just my assistant. I just met him. And but I remember we're standing there and they weren't doing an interview, and Drew Carey was in the middle, and he like turned around, he started waving at everybody and like saying hi and everything. And so we're talking to him over the top of John Ritter and Katie Seagal, and all of a sudden Katie Seagal, she goes, would you be quiet? Like screams at us. And we go, sorry. She's like, we're trying to film something. I guess they were doing like a commercial or something, like a commercial spot. And we didn't know because they didn't say anything. And we were like, oh, sorry. And she's like, thanks. She was not very nice.
How dare you piss off the voice of Smart House?
I know, right? Like what? And then afterwards, Drew Carey comes around. He's talking to everybody, and so we got a picture with them and autograph. And he was like, "Hey," he goes, "Are you going out to Pleasure Island tonight?" He's like, "I'm gonna be there." And Karen's like, "Yeah."
I told you. That's the one weird thing I remember about Karen is that she was obsessed with Drew Carey. Like, I could be wrong about that, but I'm like 99% sure. And I didn't even remember it until we were talking earlier, and you said something about how you guys went there, and I was like,
yeah,
she was obsessed with Drew Carey, wasn't she? Like, why Drew Carey is the person you're obsessed with?
I don't know, but it was fun. It was a fun day, and because I remember even like, so John Ritter he asked the guy that was behind the camera, he's like, can you give me some water bottles? So he got them and he started giving them to that guy, and he goes, here, hand these out to your friends. It's hot, And so he gave one to me and Karen. So we were sharing the bottle, and I like kept this bottle from John Ritter for like ever. It's a friggin' empty water bottle. I don't know.
John Ritter touched it.
He touched this water bottle. I don't know. Something stupid like that. But yeah, I was doing stuff like that, not going to my class, and I ended up
you failed out of the Walt Disney World College.
Right? Like who does that? I remember I did take a class though. They had me take a training to be a trainer. Like I'm on the college program. And so they had me take the class to train new people coming in. Yeah. So I got like the certificate, and I got like a pin that says trainer on it and everything. And then so
because you were a super good employee who actually went to work.
Right. I went to work. And so then they would have like these younger, like, kids come in or whatever, not college program, but just, people working, and I would train them. Like I'd have to go with them, and that was pretty cool.
No, that is cool, because that is super well. I mean, I guess I don't know how it is now, but
yeah,
back in the day, it was very rare for somebody, for me, working in attractions on my first one, there was no way they would ever let a college programmer train people on attractions, because there's literally way too many moving parts, literally. Right. You have to be certified to even get to be a trainer on an attraction. In foods, it's different. I do believe that when I was a restaurant manager, we had a couple really good college programmers who were there for, spring advantage or whatever, who like 4 or 5 months in, we trained them to do things that normally would not be college program jobs. But it was like, no, this person is really good. We need a person, so they can be a trainer, or they can be working, like at that point, we actually had somebody assigning people to positions, because we had too many not literal moving parts in that particular area. So many locations where the computer couldn't handle sending people on breaks at the right times and whatnot. It wasn't like Pirates, where the thing was kind of it was literally a machine, right? Like somebody checks in, it sends them the position, it bumps, and this person goes to break. Right. And so in this particular instance, I mean, we had like 13 locations at Hollywood Studios, but at Pizza Fari, again, it was different. It was more like at Pirates, where it's like there's only so many positions you can do. And also back in the day when Animal Kingdom was only open from like what was it, 7 or 8 a.m. to like 6 p.m. It was,
Mhm.
and the restaurant itself was only open from 10 to 6. Like, it's no big deal. No big deal. But, well, I mean, so we're going to do one last episode of this series in which I will probably shut my trap and have next to nothing to say outside of what happened at the very end of my summer program, but where I want to talk to you, and hopefully we'll bring Jonathan back, and it'll be more about like your fall experience, because I know that must have been so totally different from my experience a year prior. But any last thoughts about the wet hot Walt Disney World summer?
Oh gosh.
I mean, it was
No,
fun.
it
I
was.
listen. I remember that, whether it was, well, and also I mean, really, like I think back, and I'm pretty sure 90% of the times that you and I did stuff together, we were sober. So
Yeah.
like it's very different for me for my first college program, because while it's been 20 years and of course I don't remember these specifics, I do know that we did some stupid shit, but it was like stupid sober shit, like
Right.
going to the to Beaches and Cream and watching our friend try to eat an entire kitchen sink, or then like 2 days later our friends buying 5-gallon tubs of ice cream. Like and I think they said they were like training for their next kitchen sink
Yeah.
experience, and I was just like, dudes, this is not gonna go over well. Nobody can
No.
eat 5 gallons of ice cream and not throw up.
Right?
And nobody
No.
can do it in an hour. I think that was like the
Mm-mm.
time frame, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, I mean, any last thoughts before we close out
Gosh.
and look forward to, hopefully you'll be able to join us in August.
Yeah. I don't know. It was, I don't know, that summer. I don't know. There was a lot. There
There
was
was
a lot.
a lot. It was a lot.
But yeah, no, it was fun. It was good. I mean, just, all the people that I worked with and met and everything, and even like, well, I was saying I was a trainer. I actually still I'm still friends with one of the girls I trained, like on Facebook. Like we still, follow each other and talk and everything, and so that's cool. But yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I actually think I am, friends. Obviously, you and I are friends. Jonathan, who is on the last episode, and I are friends. But when like like I'm Facebook friends with a handful of
Yeah.
people from both my 2001 and 2002 college
Hmm.
program people, but I think from 2002, like I mean that's when I got to know Bo better, right?
Hmm.
That's
Right.
when I got to know Ryan better. And I think I'm like a slightly higher tier of acquaintances still with these people because of the 2002 program
Hmm.
than I was from 2001. And I maybe I do need to actually contribute that to the fact that we weren't just getting wasted together like
Yeah.
several times a week. It was actually going out and doing
Doing
things
things.
that
Yeah.
were going on day trips to the beach, going I mean, obviously we weren't 21. So when we went to the club in Orlando, we were sober, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Now, granted, did I remember that until I went back through my annals and like read about it? No, but it's been 20 years. A lot's happened in 20 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, on that note, as we close out this episode, I just want to give a shout out to our Geek Saga Entertainment heroes to your Patreon, Tommy of the TKOK Podcast Network. Thank you so much for supporting us, Tommy. Love you so much. Thank you again, Kelly, for joining me on this episode. I really hope you'll be able to join me in August for the third and
Yes.
final episode, because I know I really want to hear about other people's experiences beyond the
Hmm.
summer.
Yeah.
And especially how different it was probably from my 2001 program. And again, you can follow me across the web at Geek Saga for updates on when you can catch the next episode in this WDWCP 2002 20-year anniversary series. And again, that episode will focus a little bit on my exit from the college program that summer, but also hopefully get some people on to talk about their fall experiences that were different from 2001. Thank you for watching, listening, etc. Have a good night. Goodbye.
Bye.